Ai, tēnā anō tātou, tātou kua huhu mai nei ki tēnei o tātou akoranga, ko tō tātou nei kai mātauranga mō tēnei ahi, te paupautanga o te rā, ko te wiki o te reo Māori, rima tekau tau. This year we are celebrating 50 years of te wiki o te reo Māori. Now, can I just ask a question? Does anybody know why or how te wiki o te reo Māori came about? Just a thumbs up, a kao, ai kao, rānei, yes or no answer in the chat would be good. Does anybody know how te wiki o te reo Māori came about? Kao, ka pai. Okay, so next week, I just want to let everybody know, next week we do have our karakia sessions, which are going to be quite fun, actually, with Te Aka Taumatua. And I'll share a little bit more about that at the end, because obviously, you know, we're all online and we still kind of want to feel a part of some kind of a celebration in terms of our te reo Māori and our taonga that we really prize within Te Aka Taumatua. So I just wanted to give a little bit of a taster around why we even celebrate Te Wiki o Te Reo Māori, how we've come this far 50 years down the track and still some people don't really know how we got here. So ka ko ke whakamua. Okay, ka tīmata tahi tātou me tō tātou nei karakia. I do want to, I hope everyone can still hear me. I do want to, just highlight that this particular karakia is really good for learning. So I've got my Māori kupu there in the white, and then of course the blue is English if anybody wanted to know any of the translation. But I particularly like this karakia for learning, and it's really good for places like classrooms or universities and stuff like that to be able to begin your hui. Ka pai? Māku e taki te karakia. Kia inoi tātou. Tuku a te wairua kia rere ki ngā taumata, hei arahi i a tātou mahi me tā tātou whai i ngā tikanga a rātou mā. Kia mau, kia ita, kia kore ai e ngaro, kia pupuri, ka whakamau ai kia tīnā. Tīnā, hui e, tai ki e. Ka pai. This he paku whakawhanaungatanga, mahi whakawhanaungatanga tēnei. Can I just get everybody to write tuatahi, Miki. Number 1, write your name, your first name only. Tuarua, where are you from? You can either say you're from a iwi or where you're staying, kei a koe te tikanga, it's completely up to you. And number 3, where did you grow up? I tupu mai koe ki hea. While you're writing that in the chat, I just want to acknowledge why this part of our akoranga is really important. Whanaungatanga and finding a connection between akonga or even the kaiako is really important so that you feel like there is a connection, but you can also relate to our whānau. It doesn't matter whether you are from the South Island or whether you're from the North Island. There is always kind of some way to be able to connect with a person, either through experiences. Probably all of us here today can probably all connect through our Māoritanga. And if not that, it's, more than likely, it could also be, you know, some of the things that we enjoy, some of the things that we like, or, you know, could be kai, could be anything. So I always normally like to start my sessions with a little bit of whakawhanaungatanga. And it's really cool, just for conversation, really. So I can see some dots going. Ka pai, tuatahi rā, we've got Tiruhinga from Gore. I mean, wow, far. I've never actually been there before. And I tipu mai koe ki Kirikiriroa, Hamilton. Ka pai, tēnā koe Tiruhinga. Tamatoa, e mihi nui ana ki a koe. You, ka pai, from Tāmaki Makaurau. And you grew up in Whangare. So, fun fact, I grew up saying whangare with, which would normally place the macron on the first A, whangare. In this day and age, we've actually been told that the macron actually goes on the second A, which makes whangare sound like whangare. So I'm still trying to wrap my tongue around that one. Who got to me kahukiwa? Oh, ka pai, ngai tūhoi. Oh, kaha, mana. That's what I think of every time I hear of Tūhoi. Reason being is because Tūhoi is quite an isolated place, and Tūhoi were actually one of the main iwi who were able to retain their reo. So hence the reason why there's your dialect and the mana of Te Reo Māori comes out quite strong from Tūhoi. So we have got I tipu mai koe ki Hawera. Have not been there, I don't think. But this is what I appreciate about travelling. You get to go and go to all these different places, different tūtohu whenua, and you learn a lot about history, and that's what I love about travel, especially in our own motu. Ko ai ahau, I've mentioned in previous iakoranga in our hui online that my name is Viv. My full name is Vivian Merepai Grace Te Hara. I come from my iwi, Ngāti Tūwharetoa, which is down in the Taupō region. And I also hail from Ngāti Whātua, which is just north of Auckland, just north of Tāmaki Makaurau. I do spend a lot of time between Auckland and Whangare, so tamatoa. Hopefully I'll be able to meet you on some of my travels. Where I grew up, I actually grew up, majority of my time growing up, I grew up here in Wellsford. So if you travel from Auckland to Whangare, you know that Wellsford is the place where a lot of people stop to get McDonald's, maki tānara, or gas if you need a refill, or if you need to use the wharepaku. So we're not really known on the map, except for the kind of place in between where you need to recharge. Ka pai. Tēnā koutou. Thank you for sharing that with me. Ka haere tonu. Okay, I just want to go over a little bit of hitoria, history. Where did Te Wiki o Te Reo Māori come from? So, in 1972, there was a group, a kapa called Ngā Tamatoa. This, at the time, was probably known as quite a radical group, doing a lot of protesting and challenging the government. Now, the Te Reo Māori Society collected over 30,000 signatures on a petition to the Parliament calling for government to offer Māori language in schools. That year, the Te Reo Māori Society was also instrumental in establishing Māori Language Day. This, thankfully, has extended to Māori Language Week. Now we have to ask why. Why did a group like this initiate such a huge movement to be able to collect 30,000 signatures? Why was it so important? And this is the reason. Between 1920 and 1960, there was a significant decline in the number of speakers of Te Reo Māori. Several factors contributed to this decline. One of the factors being that the Māori male population was hit hard by the participation in 2 world wars. Now, if you can imagine, all of our iwi have, at this particular time, had rich knowledge, and of course a lot of our tāne Māori carried that knowledge. They had to, because in marae they've got to get up and they've got to do their kōrero, and of course they had to retain generations and generations of stories, generations of kōrero handed down, kōrero tukuiho handed down from their forefathers, so that they could continue on that line of making sure that all of that good kōrero, that very important kōrero, was passed down to the next generations. Now, due to government decisions, there were 2 world wars that happened. Of course, you guys know World War I, World War II. At that time, it was kind of like the cool thing to, okay, let's all sign up and go join the war. We get to go and travel, we get to go hang out with the boys. So a lot of our Māori males did that. Not only did they take all that mātauranga with them and sign up to these world wars, a lot of them didn't come home, which meant that what I like to say is a lot of our iwi were pohara. We're very, very poor in terms of our mātauranga and our knowledge that we had left behind in the iwi and the people that still stayed in Aotearoa. So Māori families moving to cities was another reason. I think I could probably say mahi was probably one of the main factors. If you have mahi, you have putea, you have money. So where was the money? The money was in the city, because that's where the mahi was. So a lot of the whānau moving from rural areas left their whenua and moved into the cities, where they were also encouraged to participate in society, i.e. Going to kura, going to schools, putting their tamariki into school so that they can go to work and earn some money. Then, of course, you get the money, you spend the money, put the kai on the table, and it was a repetitive process that obviously a lot of us still experience today. So in a policy known as pepper potting, individual Māori families were housed among non-Māori families to encourage them to adopt Pākehā ideals, culture and language. So as years went on, this is what they call pepper potting, making sure that Māori are all spread out, and kind of just they just have no need to speak te reo Māori, because there's a lot of English language around. So when I say, I guess there's a lot of people in this day and age that experience a lot of whakamā for not knowing. It's really important for all of our rangatahi to know today, all of you who are here listening, to know that it's not your fault that you don't know your reo. I am a second language learner myself. I grew up with parents who were Māori artists. My mum's a kairaranga and she teaches weaving, and my father is a kai whakairo and he teaches carving. So even though they had the skills to be able to create Māori art, they did not have the skill to be able to kōrero Māori. And again, that's not my fault. That's not their fault. It was part of the plan to be able to eradicate te reo Māori from Māori people and to adapt to Pākehā ideals and culture. So I guess, kia hau o whakaro, what are your thoughts in terms of what you know now with reo Māori? Some of us are lucky. Some of us are very, very lucky to be able to grow up in kohanga reo, maybe even go to a kura kaupapa for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Maybe you went to kura kaupapa all of your primary school years and and was able to learn te reo Māori that way. He hau o whakaro. What do you think we could do about, I mean, we know what's happened. We know what happened in our history, but what is it that we can do about the situation now? Yes, we can celebrate Te Wiki o Te Reo Māori, but do you think that's enough? Kia hoa whakaaro, what are your thoughts? Just write it in the chat. What do you think we can do?
You don't think it's enough?
No, I mean, I guess not.
Make the whole week a holiday. Yep, I agree. It's not enough. 1 week is not enough.
It is
Of
like,
course.
what is it? Samoan Language Week? Cook Island Language Week?
Yep, we've got plenty of language real weeks in Aotearoa. I know we recently had a different one. Oh, you know what? I think they're changing all the time. That's what I think. But
That's it.
I do also believe that we
Oh, Ian
are
Cook.
celebrating Mahuru Māori at the
Yeah.
moment, which is another huge kaupapa. Yeah, we could make it a holiday. We do have Matariki and we do have Waitangi Day. Waitangi Day probably not so much focused on Te Reo Māori. What I do appreciate about Waitangi Day is that it allows everybody to learn about Te Tiriti o Waitangi and again, you know, kind of the foundations of the document. Ka pai. Have a little extended weekend for it or something like that. Yeah. I think also in terms of government, government organisations, they like to have, from what I can see, they like to have maybe 1 or 2 holidays each term. So if we look at last term, for example, term 2, Wahanga Tuarua, we had the King's birthday, and we also had Matariki. So we had 2 days of horore during that term. I do believe we've got, I don't know if it's this term, it's next term. We've got Labour Day next term. I can't remember what holiday we had this term. Oh, kapai. I'll go back to my slide before I get distracted and sidetracked again. What can we do? E tātauma. One of the kōrero that I'm seeing come out a lot lately is use what little reo you have already. Now, there is a huge sense of whakamā that comes with everyone, and that is just a really, really deep trauma. I'm going to say it's a trauma. It's just something that I think Māori as a whole feel that we should have, and it's almost frowned upon, like, well, you're Māori, you should know. But again, like I said in the beginning, that the reason why we don't know is not our fault. So that was completely taken out of our control, and it was not. It was part of the plan. It was part of the overall plan as part of colonisation. So as Māori, there's a huge movement now to be able to revitalise what reo we have, and what that looks like in my whare is we do karakia at night time. We say a karakia before we go to bed. For me, in the morning, I make sure I say my karakia in the morning. Now, why is this important? It's important because our whānau need to hear that it's valued. Our whānau need to hear that te reo Māori is valued, not just karakia. Our whānau need to be able to hear particular kupu. For example, I do know that there are some kupu in te reo Māori that have become quite natural to use, like whānau, mahi. Another kupu is kai. And that's actually a really, really good strategy for reo Māori learners to completely drop the word food from your vocabulary, to completely drop the word family from your vocabulary, because in a motu, in a country that has te reo Māori as an official language, we have most cultures here in Aotearoa do understand what those kupu are. So dropping the English kupu, especially the ones that everyone knows, drop that from your vocabulary, wake tonu atu, forever, because you don't need it. Everybody understands the word kai. Ne? So that's one of the big strategies that I like to encourage people to do. Aroha mai, that's my whānau in the background. There's a lot of my whānau Māori at the moment. A real Māori learning strategy is to drop English vocabulary from your everyday language, because you don't need it and everyone understands the real Māori version to it. Ka pai? So I mentioned a couple of kupu. There was kai, mahi, and whānau. Do you know of any other kupu that you think you might be able to use and completely drop the English kupu from it, from your vocab? Ka pai, tino pai, numbers. Tino pai te ruhinga, I think that's a good one as well. Tahi rua tori whārima, even if it's tahi ki te rima, I know that even some of the kura auraki, the mainstream schools that I've worked at before, they all learned numbers. And these are tamariki of many, who come from many backgrounds, many cultures. I even think colours is on there too. Yeah. Now I might just add that I have spent, like I said before, I'm a second language learner. I did go to Kohanga Reo. I did go to bilingual unit schools when I was in primary school, even in intermediate, because I was ikuraina hau ki Tāmaki Makaurau. I was brought up growing up in schools in Tāmaki Makaurau, and I was very fortunate to be able to grow up alongside Pacifica, a Pacifica whānau, not only Māori, even Indian, many cultures. And I think it made my experience growing up in Tāmaki Makaurau more of a rich one. But I can always remember that no matter the culture, they all had a responsibility to learn te reo Māori. Now, with this current government, I don't want to get political, but I don't believe a lot of what we think are treasures in terms of te reo Māori are important to them. Ka pai? Me haere tonu. Patua te whakamā. Patua te ngangara whakamā. What this basically means is we need to squash that ugly insect, and this is a bit metaphorical, the ugly insect of shame. There's a lot of us that come with shame. Oh, no, it's not cool enough to speak te reo Māori. It's not cool. I think, and even in adults, even with adults, there is a lot of shame to do with expectation on what we should know. But again, try your best. Who cares? Like I said before, I'm a second language learner. I've been learning for this will be my 6th year. Have done all the courses online. I've gone to all the classes. I went to all the wānanga. Even though this particular kiwaha stands out for me, it helps me get over that shame. It's like, it doesn't really matter whether I'm right or whether I'm wrong. The most important thing is that I'm putting in the effort to be able to use my kupu, because I feel, and I think what I've experienced in terms of teaching te reo Māori to adults and tamariki is that a lot of people grip onto the shame But if we can all move together, if we can all just get into this kaupapa all together and use a couple of Māori kupu each day, that means that we're putting in our fair share of effort to keep our reo Māori alive. Ka pai? And again, ako, ako, ako. Ako is the most important thing. And I'm not just talking about te reo Māori, I'm talking about learning in general. If you really value mātauranga and you really want mātauranga to take you places in the world, learning is the most important thing. It's not what you know, it's what you're doing about gaining the mātauranga that you need. Ka pai? You could have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't keep learning, you're going to be stagnant in terms of your learning. So what I do like to do is I like to kind of just let all of my my akonga know how important it is to be a lifelong learner. You know, I think, again, I can only reflect on myself, but I've gone as far as I possibly can go in terms of my reo Māori learning. It's nobody's responsibility but my own to carry that on. And how I do that is I try to use that as much as possible. Ka pai? So my kōrero to you all is ako, ako, ako. Never stop learning. Whatever is interesting to you, try to develop the mindset, which I guess this kind of relates to our kōrero about growth mindset, is to hang on to this idea of being a lifelong learner and never stop learning. My uncle, he is 75 years old. Back in the day, he always used to read newspapers. He's used to smoke packets of cigarettes a day. My uncle's still alive, and I think it's because he just constantly learns all the time, and is always sharing knowledge to us in our whānau. So now that we have identified that ako is really, really important, I'm going to share something very, very short before we run out of time. If I can stop sharing, and I'm going to share another slide just to get us going on one paku akoranga for the day in terms of te reo Māori. Nope, not that one. It is this one. Come on. Okay, I hope you can all see that. No, that's not what I want to do. My goodness me. Ka manawa nui mai e te whānau. Okay, very basic. Ka pai? Very, very basic. When I start teaching te reo Māori, I like to start with sentences, sentence structures that you might use. Now, if I use the kupu pen, the English kupu is pen, the Māori kupu is pene. Ka pai? Pene. All you do is add another e on the end. Pene. This is a locative sentence. So I'm going to take out, as you can see in the slide, we've got 1, 2, 3 columns here. We're not going to look at this column here. We're not going to look at the third column. Be prepared for a bit of a type in the chat e te whānau. But if I go, he pene tēnei, all that means is this is a pen. Ka pai? This is a pen. Now, there is only one part of the sentence that changes, and that is depicted by where the location of the pen is. Where is that pen? Ka pai? So I've got tēnei and tēnā. Tēnei is, this is the pen, because I'm holding the pen and it's by me. But if you were to say it, you would say he pene tēnā, because the pen is not by you, it's by me. Ka pai? So we're talking about we're talking about location, about where this current pen is. Ka pai? Now, in the second row, as you can see here, we've got this kupu enei, ena, and on this side we have era, but we're not going to focus on those. We're only going to focus on this and that. Ka pai? This and that. Tēnei, tēnā. The ena and ena are plural, which means he pene enei. He pene enei. I've got 2 pens, which makes it plural. Ka pai? If I take 1 pen away, he pene tēnei. I'm saying tēnei because I've got the pen. If you were to say it back to me, you would say he pene tēnā, because I have the pen and you don't have the pen. Ka pai? Okay, now I am going to choose what is something else? I'm going to choose a phone. Let's choose a phone. Ka pai? Can you please write in the chat? Because I've got the phone, and a phone, the kipu for phone is waia. W-A-E-A, waia. If I've got the phone, what would you write in the chat to say that this is a phone? This is a phone. Ka pai? This is a phone. He waia tēnei, he ha tō whakautu, tamatua, ka pai, he waia tēnei. E tika ana korua, ka nui te mihi. You are correct. Ka pai? What if I said, oh shucks, not trying to give you the answer. That is the phone. Ka pai? How about these are the phones? These are the phones. Tēnō pai. Last question. Those are the phones. Tēnō pai. Ka nui te mihi kia korua. Kua mau. Kua mau ki te roro. Now, can you please, this is going to be our last activity, can you please write in the chat something that is by you? Something that is by you. He, whatever. It can be in English or Māori if you don't know the kupu Māori for it. Kei a koe te tikanga, it's up to you. What is something by you? Tēnā koe māma. Ka pai, he moinga tēnei. Miharo. Ai, he moinga hoki ki konei, tēnei. I also have a bed right next to me. He papa tēnei, kia ora, tēnā koutou. Ka nui te mihi. Ka pai. Okay. E te whānau, ka nui te mihi kia koutou katoa I tai mai. Please do not forget to do your check-ins to say that you attended this this huinga ako. I do want to show you something, tauhua ake, if I can just pull it up. In terms of our whakaritinga, our what we have organised for next week, Te Reo Māori Language Week, Kei here. Here we go. What I'm going to do, can I? No, I better not. Just leave that. I do want to show you what we have planned for next week for Te Reo Māori Language Week. Where is it? Might be here. Here we go. Oh. Now where is, here we go, share. Te wiki o te reo Māori rima te koutou. These are the activities that we have got organised for our Te Aka Taumatua Te Wiki o Te Reo Māori. So, we've got karakia, and these are all going to be roughly between 10 o'clock in the morning to 10:30 in the morning. So it's only going to be a half an hour session. Of course, you can send in your check-in to say that you attended, and this will all count towards your engagement. Ko te waimarie o tō koutou kaimanaki, very fortunate that you have all attended this huinga ako today, because this all counts towards the mahi that you do here at Te Kura. So we've got karakia, we've got karakia, and then we have a 3-minute whakawhanaungatanga session, and this has been shared out to all of Te Kura, not just Te Aka Taumatua, but to all whānau, to all akonga, to all kaimahi at Te Kura. After our whakawhanaungatanga session, we have a whakatauki session teaching about a whakatauki, and that only lasts 5 minutes. We have a pūrako session, and then we've got various kaiako that are going to talk about a pūrako or a story. We have challenges also, and some of these boxes still need to get filled in. We've got challenges. We've got 2 challenges here, and then a bit of a whitiata, a video showing some akonga how to submit their mahi, and because some of them still don't know how to do it. We also have online games that we can all participate in. Hei te mitunga at the end, and then we just close off with our karakia. So again, it's only meant to be 30 minutes, but we've kind of just reached it out to 10:40 just in case we go over time. Ka pai. And those are some of the whakaritinga, the plans that we've got in place for our Te Reo Māori, Te Wiki o Te Reo Māori session from 10 o'clock every day next week, 10 a.m. every day next week. So I'll make sure, if you have a look on your Mai Te Kura, you might see the links on there. So just save the link, or if you've got it sitting in your email, save that too. And yeah, come along to our sessions, and kia whakarau o rātou tātou reo, so that we can keep revitalising our reo Māori, our taonga, and putting in a little bit every single day. Ka pai. Anō, ka nui te mihi nui kia koutou katoa, koutou I tai mai ki tēnei I akoranga. I really appreciate you all joining me today. Maki te karakia, whakakapi e taki. Kei noi tātou. Unuhia atu rā te pūtake o ngā kōrero I te wānanga. Unuhia atu rā te hautapu o ngā ariki. Whakairia e rongo kia paitara a whare, ka whakamau ai kia tīnā. Hui e, tai ki e. Mauri ora kia koutou. Ngā mihi.